$330 billion a year is spent on space. Equal parts in commercial infrastructure and products and services. This includes businesses that run on GPS. It includes DirecTV, weather satellite reporting. The United States is the $44 billion in the upper corner. We spend about half again as much on space as the entire rest of the world. But each of those two small segments are small compared with the total business of space.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Elon Musk.
Despite a chorus of skeptics, Musk built a car company called Tesla that turns out 5,000 high-end all-electric cars a year. Another Musk company sells solar power systems. But his lifelong passion is space. And when eBay bought PayPal in 2002, Musk started looking for ways to launch his new fortune into orbit.
I went to Russia to look at buying a refurbished ICBM, which is a very trippy experience. It was very bizarre. And when I tell people that, they're like, what?
Musk made 3 trips to Russia trying to buy an intercontinental ballistic missile called the Dnieper. His plan was bizarre. Put a greenhouse on the rocket, land it on Mars, and beam back the pictures.
It'll get people really excited, and that would recharge human space exploration. That was my original idea.
You just wanted to get people interested in space again?
Yes, yes.
Capture the imagination?
Yes. That was the idea.
Turns out the Dnieper was so expensive, his idea never flew. So Musk decided that the only way to get an affordable rocket was to build it himself. And he started SpaceX.
Ground control to Major Tom. Ground control to Major Tom. Take your protein pills and put your helmet on. 10. Ground control to Major Tom. 7, 6. Commencing countdown, engines on. 3, 2. Check ignition and may God's love be with you. This is ground control to Major Tom. You've really made the grade, and the papers want to know whose shirt you wear. Now it's time to leave the capsule if you dare. This is Major Tom to ground control. I'm stepping through the door, and I'm floating in a most peculiar way, and the stars look very different today, for here am I sitting in.
People who've been in the rocketry business for decades, who say about you that you don't know what you don't know.
Well, I suppose that's true of anyone. How can anyone know what they don't know?
But when critics say you can't do this, your answer to them is,
we've done it.
He's done it in partnership with NASA, which has given SpaceX technical advice and a contract worth up to $1.6 billion, mostly for 12 cargo flights to the space station. But SpaceX's lack of experience bothers some NASA legends like Apollo astronauts Neil Armstrong and Gene Cernan. They've testified to Congress that the Obama administration's drive to commercialize space could compromise safety and eventually cost the taxpayers.
Now is the time to overrule this administration's pledge to mediocrity.
You know, there are American heroes who don't like this idea. Neil Armstrong, Gene Cernan have both testified against commercial spaceflight and the way that you're developing it, and I wonder what you think of that.
I was very sad to see that because those guys are, those guys are heroes of mine, so it's really tough. I wish they would come and visit and see the hardware that we're doing here. And I think that would change their mind.
They inspired you to do this, didn't they?
Yes.
And to see them casting stones in your direction.
It's difficult.
Did you expect them to cheer you on?
So they're hoping they would.
What are you trying to prove to them?
What I'm trying to do is to make a significant difference in spaceflight and help make spaceflight accessible to almost anyone. And I would hope for as much support in that direction as we can receive.
We've come to see the launch of SpaceX's next big rocket, the Falcon Heavy. This vehicle can create more than 5 million pounds of thrust at liftoff and is capable of putting around 140,000 pounds into lower Earth orbit. That's more than twice the weight that any other rocket currently on the market can carry. So right now, the Falcon Heavy holds the title for the most powerful rocket in the world.
I'm very excited about this launch because I think this is it's going to really show that we can do giant rockets again. Most space organizations, government or commercial, have set their sights too low. They've really built relatively small rockets. And Falcon Heavy is the first time that there's something that's arguably even in the super heavy class, or somewhere between heavy and super heavy. And showing that you can launch a giant rocket and have it be commercially viable, carry satellites, potentially carry people. Falcon Heavy is capable of actually taking a Dragon mission, taking people around the moon.
Is there any update on that, by the way?
Not yet.
Not yet.
We're sort of debating whether to do that on Falcon Heavy or BFR. It will sort of depend on how well the BFR development is going as to whether we focus on BFR for deep space human flight, or whether we do that on Falcon Heavy.
What do you see has been the biggest challenge for making this rocket fly?
The biggest challenge of getting to the launch pad has been that we had to completely redesign the center core. So the load going through the center core is much greater than would normally go through a Falcon 9 rocket. Each of the side boosters is putting in 500,000 pounds of thrust into the center core. So you have an incremental 1 million pounds of force going through that center core, which means we had to really redesign almost the entire stage.
It's a god-awful small affair to the girl with the mousy hair, but her mummy is yelling no, and her daddy has told her to go, but her friend is nowhere to be seen. Now she walks through her sunken dream to the seat with the clearest view, and she's hooked to the silver screen. But the film is a sad thing for she's lived it 10 times or more. She could spit in the eyes of fools if they ask her to focus on sailors fighting in the dance hall. Oh man, look at those cavemen go. It's the freakiest show. Take a look at the low man beating up the wrong guy. Oh man, wonder if you'll ever know who's in the best-selling show. Is there life on Mars?